We are entering the largest, fastest technological disruption in human history, an era where the speed of change is invisible until it has already arrived. For 20 years, the height of innovation was defined by the smartphone, a market that has now reached a mature baseline. But for cash-rich companies built on this previous revolution, market dominance offers no protection when the core product is disrupted by artificial intelligence. Many investors unknowingly compound this risk through passive indexing. By hugging traditional benchmarks, they trap their capital in the very companies that are most vulnerable to being hollowed out. When the rate of technological turnover moves this quickly, the perceived safety of legacy systems becomes the single most dangerous financial risk in a portfolio. For 125 years, global real GDP growth has averaged 3%. Now, converging innovation platforms are breaking that baseline, projecting growth to hit 7.3% over 5 years. This gap represents tens of trillions of dollars in new wealth. Capturing this growth requires moving away from the old curve entirely and positioning capital on the right side of change. Successfully identifying these shifts requires looking past short-term stock prices to map the long-term trajectory of specific innovation platforms. This analysis is based on Wright's law, which states that every time the cumulative production of a technology doubles, the cost to produce it drops by a consistent fixed percentage. When the cost of a technology drops low enough, it crosses a threshold for mass adoption. At that point, it ceases to be a niche product and begins to proliferate across multiple economic sectors simultaneously. By tracking these measurable economic laws of cost decline, it becomes possible to predict which technologies are ready to transition from labs into the global market. The most explosive growth happens at the intersection of these breakthroughs. A modern electric vehicle integrates artificial intelligence, robotics, and energy storage into a single, unified platform. This specific convergence provides the physical and digital foundation for autonomous taxi networks, an industry projected to generate up to $10 trillion in revenue as it replaces traditional transportation. We see the same pattern in healthcare, where artificial intelligence is now being applied to DNA sequencing and gene editing. This biological convergence has already reached a major milestone, the ability to functionally cure inherited blood diseases with a single targeted treatment. These represent the highest conviction opportunities, investments that sit directly at the collision points of multiple innovation platforms. This disruption is also creating an entirely new asset class. Digital assets like Bitcoin are backed by the most powerful physical computer network in existence, forming the basis for a rules-based global monetary system. Because this system is decentralized and unhackable, it offers a level of mathematical scarcity that legacy currencies cannot match. Navigating this transition involves immense friction. Technologies that are scaling often go through a phase of production hell and intense regulatory scrutiny, which manifests in the market as high volatility. While some see these price swings as a sign of failure, they are actually the turbulent price of admission for backing a shift in how the world functions. These technologies are becoming a necessity for the global economy. Across the developed world, birth rates are falling and the traditional labor force is shrinking as older generations retire. Humanoid robotics and AI are the only tools capable of filling the labor void, sustaining production as the human workforce declines. At the same time, vibe coding and natural language programming are allowing individuals to direct these systems using plain English. This removes the technical barriers to creation, allowing for an unprecedented level of personalized innovation. Rather than ending work, these technologies provide the only mechanism capable of rescuing society from a massive productivity collapse. The outcome for legacy corporations is now tied to their willingness to adapt. Those that rate these platforms will eventually be replaced by the very technologies they ignored. Investing has evolved into a tool for designing the next decade. Every capital allocation is a specific decision to fund one version of the future over another. To build wealth in this era, you must look past the immediate noise, accept the inherent volatility of the new, and hold the conviction to relentlessly back the future.